Hello, everybody. Welcome back to day two of the art unit. Today we are doing part two of the notes, and then tomorrow we are actually diving in to the unit. I am super hyped for this, and then what we got going on further into the unit. I'm hyped when we start painting and drawing and getting to the real stuff. So that's gonna be a really exciting. So we're gonna dive in, but before we do that, make sure to subscribe and turn on all notifications so you don't miss another video from me. And then like the video as always and comment down below. So, as always, here's a reminder for what we're doing for the week. Once we actually dive into the book, I'm not going to give a reminder for the calendar anymore. So, if you want a reminder of the calendar, go back to the first video of the unit. So, if we're like 3 weeks into the unit, you might have to go back 3 weeks back to view that video where I viewed the schedule or the calendar. And remember, I did that first video right here where I reviewed the calendar slash schedule. You can call it whatever. All right, so this is our calendar. So now we're going to switch over to the document to do part two of our notes. Okay, so this is the front and back. First is some, like captions, background talk, and then the back page is some transitions. And notice I have a pen. I will actually be, drawing some stuff today. Of course, I have all the things written down from the class I did, but I have a pen to educationally guess on what the drawings might look like to show you guys. So, our first definition is captions, which we should all be familiar with those. Captions are words that give voice to the narrator. So obviously, like, we don't need to these are captions like hello. Like that's a caption right there. It's just captions are words. Speech bubbles. Balloons extending from characters' mouths. So obviously we should all know what that looks like, but that looks like this. Okay. It's to give the character a voice so that we know that they're speaking and we also know what they're saying. All right. Thought bubbles are clouds that contain a character's thought. So usually thought bubbles look like this, hovering over a character's, I'll do a girl this time, hovering over a character's head, usually their head, like right above them. Emanata is artistic representations of feelings, emotions, movement. So examples are teardrops, sweat lines, exclamation marks. So all those that you see there. So that's going to be a teardrop, exclamation marks, maybe some sweat lines. So, all right. Foreground is what's depicted closest to the reader slash the subject. So what's depicted closest to the reader, and we will get to that image in quite a second. All right, midground is subjects depicted in the middle of the scene in front of a background slash setting. So kind of in the middle objects, and we'll talk about this photo in a quick second. Background, the objects that are further away from the reader, usually conveying settings slash contextual details. And then we have an extra definition down here. I don't know if you can see, but onomatopoeia, the creation slash the use of words that imitate natural sound. So, like, bam, right? Just putting it in like a bubble of some sort. So, bam, or wow. Any sound you hear, that's onomatopoeia. All right, foreground is what's depicted closest to the reader. So in this photo right here, you guys can see it, is a great example right here. So this is background, foreground, midground. So what's depicted closest to the reader here? I would say this person because he's up close. Obviously, he's not that tall. It's just how the camera put him in to make him that tall. So I would say the person right here is the foreground. Now, the midground, subjects depicted in the middle of the scene in front of a background slash setting. So, middle would probably be the ground right here, kind of like, behind his character would be more ground. So, grass, that's kind of in the middle. Bushes would count as in the middle. This person right here would count as in the middle. So, that is going to be midground. And background, the objects that are further away from the reader, usually conveying settings slash contextual details. So it would be the house and it would be the sky, most likely, is the background. Now we're going to get into some transitions. So a transition, first of all, occurs within gutters, space between panels. So if you see a character one moment and the next moment they're transitioning into, something. So like if a character is like getting out of bed and then the next they're downstairs and then next they're at this place. That's a transition moving from one to another. So moment to moment transition is transitions that cover a few seconds in time, given its own panel. So if we were to guess on a drawing, and I'm just going to do like one of the squares, I'm not going to do all three. If you have a blank piece of paper, which you're doing these on, if you're doing them, you can do like all three, or you can just do even one. It doesn't even matter as long as you do one. So transitions that only cover few seconds in time. So if I were to draw that, I'd draw transition like a girl getting dressed, and then next moment she's like in her room. Because that doesn't cover much time. That only covers a few seconds in time. So like getting dressed in bathroom. So one moment she's getting dressed, one moment she's in the bathroom, and that doesn't cover much time. It only covers like a few seconds of time. Action to action transition. This one's a little bit longer. The gutter to cover the bulk specific of an action. Start off an action in a panel, next panel shows it completed. So, if I were to draw a panel, maybe I would split this panel, but I'm not. Let's do people high-fiving each other. So two people high-fiving each other right here. First, they gotta stick their hands out, so they're sticking their hands out right here. Next in the transition, their hands touch, and you hear that clapping sound. So that's an action being finished right there for action to action transition. All right, subject to subject transition stays within a space but moves from one part of the scene to another, but shifts both time and subject. So if I were to draw that for you guys, I would do it something like this. So it stays within a scene, but moves from one part of the scene to another. So we're shifting both time and subject. So like one part, another. So I'm just gonna like kind of draw it like this as a template. We're shifting from one part of the graphic novel, which you'll probably see in ours, to another point of time. So like I don't want to give a huge like hint away in what because this will give away like what graphic novel we're doing. So like, one point it's sunny or and then another part it's then cloudy. So it's a good time outside, another part is cloudy outside. All right. Scene to scene transition. We only have two more after this. Scene to scene transition is a jump in time and place, forced to fill in information as or fill in as information as shifts in time and place occurred in the gutter space. Okay, this is not written well. All right, so same thing with subject to subject transition. It looks like it jumps between time and space and forced to fill in information as shifts in time and place occur in the gutter space. So we're doing like, I'll do another one, cloudy. Or like 1 minute later type thing. Like one moment we're here, and then one moment we're waiting 1 minute later. So I don't know, not the best example here, but a great example here. So I'd follow this example. We're shifting between time and space for this one. All right, aspect to aspect provides a wandering eye. Time is frozen, and the panel provides various aspects of a place, idea, or mood. So, not like these ones. Time is frozen here, and it looks like we're shifting between various objects, or we're being provided various objects of a place, idea, or mood. So, like a place example for this transition would be like a house or something, like a house. Idea could be like, I don't know, like a philosophy maybe, or like, those are usually ideas. And then mood, let's say sad. I don't know. So that's what kind of like aspect to aspect transition. So if you see a lot of places, ideas, or mood in the graphic novel that we're doing, just know that's that transition. Time is frozen as well, so this doesn't seem to be shifting into one moment of time into another point of time, so it's probably in one panel. As I'm gonna put shifting. I'm gonna put X because we're not really shifting into time. Lastly, I might need to move this down. Okay. Non sequitur transitions. All right. And non-secutive transitions jump from one moment and subject to something seemingly unrelated. Two panels might not become clear until much later to the story. So panels don't come clear until much later into the story. So if I were to draw for this one, I would say, so as we read again, jump from one movement and subject to something seemingly unrelated. So, one movement and subject. So, like, movement could be kicking. So, we're kicking. And fire a guess to something seemingly unrelated. So, something unrelated could be two people talking, right? And let's just say he's kicking like a football. Okay. So it starts with a person kicking the football, and then next panel you would expect to that football being fully kicked and punted. Next, you would assume, oh, it's in the air, it's gonna go into the field goal. It's gonna go into the field goal right here. But instead, it's jumping from one moment and subject, which would be this, to something seemingly unrelated, which would be two people talking. So that's kind of a non sequitur transition here. And then two panels might not become clear until much later into this. So like this example right here, or like some subject, like I don't know, like what this person is doing or something, or an idea. So like subject. The readers might not know what that is, or they won't know until much later into the story. So that is kind of a non sequitur transition. I hope that made sense. And that wraps up for our definition notes. If you didn't get these, don't worry, you can like rewind in the video. And that wraps up our notes. Tomorrow we are diving in. And I'm really, really hyped about that. This is gonna be a fun book, fun argument. We're gonna do about it, and then I have to decide if we're gonna do next unit, moving forward. And that's not gonna be a month long. There might be like a few days long. It's such a short unit right after this. If I decide to move us along that unit, then it will be like a few days short because it's like not that long of a unit as compared to this one. And then there will be days where I just have like 1 day videos coming out that are not part of a unit. Like I done with like, the silhouette painting we did that's right over here on this wall we did with the tree. That and the also the pencil shavings we also did. That I did in a 1 day video. So I will have videos like that. Sometimes I will have units, but it kind of depends on what I'm doing, what my schedule is that month, that day. So alrighty, this wraps up our second video of the unit. Remember, please subscribe, like the video, turn on notifications so you don't miss another video from me. And comment down below if you're understanding the transitions and definitions, like background and stuff that I explained. So, like, one would be, I'm not really good. Rose 5 would be, yes, I'm getting this. Well, let's move on. So 2 would be like, some, but not really. 3, okay, I'm getting it. 4, okay, yeah, this is it. Or 5, let's move on. So tell me what you guys are, on the 1 to 5 scale rating. And let me know if you're having any trouble, like, understanding still after my explanation. So, but I feel like it was a good explanation of it. And once we actually dive into the actual art unit, it would be less tricky. Alrighty, I'm going to head out so I can start on in the dive in video, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Woo!